Good afternoon.
Responsible one.
Welcome to the Tulsa City Council Public Works Committee meeting.
Whether I wanted to be or not.
I call this meeting to order. Number 2, resolution to award bid for the sale of general obligation funds, Series 202-2025A in the sum of $107,705,000, awarding the sale to the lowest and best bidder.
Good
Hi.
afternoon. Hi, Chad Becker from Treasury. We had a bond sale this morning to sell these general obligation bonds, as you noted in the par amount of $107,705,000. Just as a reminder, we structured these over 14 maturities. This is the 6th issue of the 2019 authorization and the 5th issue of the 2023 authorization. We had a great sale. We were projecting rates to be in the range of 3 to 4.7%. Our actual rates were 0.05% to 5%. But the real win on this one was we were thinking or projecting the total all-in interest costs to be at 4%. We came in at 3.33. So that was a real win for us, especially considering that we just sold the TMUA bonds last week and they were at 3.85. So we even bettered that sale with these GO bonds this week. There was this premium on this. We received a little over $1.9 million on top of the par amount. Lots of interest. We had 7 total bidders. The winning bid was R.W. Baird. They've won many of our deals, and they're very easy to work with. And the spread between the winning bid and the second closest bidder was 5 basis points. So sale today. We'll be back before you this evening to approve this resolution and award the bid. And on GO bonds, we have a bit of a grace period that the State Attorney General reviews the sale, so we don't actually close these bonds until November 4th. So in the packet, there's just the results of the top 2 winners, just to kind of see how those top 2 bids fell out. And again, we'll request that you approve the sale, the resolution to the lowest and best bidder this evening.
Well, thank you, Chad.
Thank you.
Any questions, comments? All right, moving on to item number 3. Resolution requesting quality event designation for the Chili Bowl Nationals 2026 to be held January 12th through 17th, 2026. Identifying the city of Tulsa as the event's host community. Emergency clause. Who do we have speaking on that today? Okay.
Sarah, do we have anyone from the chamber on the chili bowl?
They say they got it like that, I guess.
So we have these 3 for items 3 and 4. They come up
Is
every
it-
year.
Is it Parks that usually comes and speaks about the Chili Bowl, so maybe we.
And
Yeah,
shoot
so
out.
If
Yeah,
we,
it's both of those rides.
Well, I can comment based on the documentation, supporting documentation, that last year, this event had an economic impact of over $31 million. That's pretty significant. That's a lot of chili. All righty. Any questions, comments? No, moving on to item 4. Resolution requesting quality event designation for the Tulsa Shootout 2025 to be held December 30th, 2025. January 3rd, 2026, identifying the city of Tulsa as the event's host community, also in the emergency clause. Do we have anybody here to speak in regards to that?
I don't think so. Same deal.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna see what that brought in. 277,000. So shooting guns is lucrative, I guess. Alrighty, is that it? Moving on to item number 5. Ordinance closing a certain utility easement requested by Jamie Skipper, Wallace Design, on behalf of Tulsa Technology Center for property located at 3720 South Memorial Drive, Lot 1, Block 1 of Tulsa Technology Center, Lumley Campus subdivision for future expansion. And City Council District 5. Do we have any speakers?
Mr. Zachary.
Hi.
Hi, how are you doing?
Doing well.
Long
How are
time no
you?
see.
I know.
Paul Zachary, Public Works. We've got a request. This is actually on the Limley campus over at Tulsa Technology Center. When they did the original plat, there's a side lot easement that was platted that never has been utilized. We did route this around to all underground folks, and they see no anticipation of needing this easement, and they fully recommend that this closure be approved, and therefore Public Works recommends that this closure be approved as well by your group.
Alrighty. Do we have any comments, questions? I thank you.
I have a question.
Yes?
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, Mr. Zachary, I put my hand up several times. Are they getting ready to do any construction there?
They always say they want to close as much easement so they have the opportunity to do expansion, but there was nothing given to us. It's just a strip along there by an existing parking lot. So
Okay.
they gave no indication, but it did say in their application, never been used to accommodate future building plans. So they and St. Francis and others that have these large campuses, as they find these things, they come and close them. So you probably have to just talk with them. They didn't give us a set of plans and say, this is what we plan to do.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Alrighty. Sorry about that, Counselor Gilbert. Okay, moving on to item 6. Is this you as well, Mr. Zachary?
Yes, I'm going to stay on.
License agreement between the City of Tulsa and Chick-fil-A for property located at 4191 South Peoria Avenue, Lot 1, Block 1, Brookside Marketplace Edition, to install and maintain a raised directional median within the street right-of-way. Ooh, medians again. City Council District 9.
Yes, ma'am. This particular, we have these directional medians for customers leaving Chick-fil-A to encourage them to go to the arterial street versus going back into the neighborhoods, and that's what this is. And it is out in the public right-of-way. It's behind the back of curb, but it's something that they're gonna maintain. If it gets damaged or hit or whatever, it's theirs to maintain and not ours. But we did review it, where it's going, and nobody had any objections. And everybody that reviewed this had no comments or no challenges at all with the license agreement, and it is consistent with what was required as part of their building plans and the IDP. So we would recommend approval of this license agreement.
Well, that's good. No resistance, yes.
I think I might be more favorable to this if Chick-fil-A would give us some ice cream cones. How about that?
We're
Careful.
still waiting.
Or is that
That is just-
Speaking as a government
That is
staff
just
member,
the opinion
I don't think we
of
can
Counselor
solicit
Archie.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
please
just
swing the
wanna-
camera that direction.
Correct.
I wanna
Let the
touch on
record
that.
reflect that was one request from one government official.
We're still waiting on taffy.
I would gladly pay for my ice
Yeah.
cream.
So let's just-
you
I
actually
prefer to pay for my ice
Thank
cream.
you.
ice cream. We need
I'll
the
hand
taffy
it
with the
good.
ice cream. Counselor Gilbert.
Is this referred to as a pork chop?
Yes, it can be that shape.
Too soon.
Nobody referred that as a pork chop here, that I.
We had a
know of.
robust
Wrong.
pork chop traffic mitigation discussion on the last Chick-fil-A in District 4.
But yes, it is flared out, but it does channel people that are leaving to head west.
That's a pork chop.
Thank you, Mr. Zachary.
That's the council term for it.
It's
Very
grilled
good.
or fried.
Nothing better than speaking about food after lunch.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item number 7.
This year, this is yours.
I know.
Proposed District 7 2021 Capital Improvement Sales Tax Community Development Priority Project. Concept Plan Number 2, South Mingo Road, sidewalks from East 81st Street to East 91st Street. If approved, this will provide funds for Phase 1 covering 82nd Place to 85th Place, and Phase 2 approximately 700 feet, covering the only undeveloped segment of the mile between Atria Apartments and Ernest Childers, VA, in the amount of $500,000. Counselor Dr. Wright.
Thank you so much. So as you know, our previous leader, in her wisdom, Counselor Q, helped us secure community development funds in the Improve Our Tulsa package. I've used $75,000 in a matching stack with Counselor Lakin and Public Works to get the swales out of South Memorial remediated. So we did that last year. This year, I'm bringing before you a $500,000 ask to connect South Mingo Road between 81st and 91st on the east side. As you just heard, we have Atria Apartments, that's over 300 units, I think, that has gone in, plus the Ernest Childers Veterans Facility, which you, if you were on council, got to visit with me when we did district visits. That has 900 parking spots because they have lots of comings and goings. There's also, right, the hospital corridor there. You can see on the map, existing neighbors, existing commercial. The challenge is the west side is largely undeveloped still, although we've done some rezoning. And so while we have design funds to widen South Mingo Road, I'm going to say it's probably a 20-year wish. So the immediate attention that we could do is go ahead and infill these, you can see marked, the existing sidewalks are the red dash line on this map. And what this proposal would cover is the green. If we get this done, we will connect the east side sidewalks from 101st on South Mingo Road all the way down to East 21st Street. Contiguous. So it's quite an improvement just for this 1 mile, obviously, but it would connect the whole thing. And I will say we've had a pedestrian death. A young man died on this road, and we have lots of crashes on this corridor. So if you've not driven it, there's berm ditches. It's a country road with urban development on it. So I'm asking for your support on this. I think it would be transformational for the corridor, but just certainly connect my district in a way that's not connected now and be beneficial to all the people that come in and out of there. Nearby, not on the map, is Tulsa Community College Southeast Campus. And to the south, a medical, south and east, a medical corridor.
I love that. All the way to 21st.
Yes, I mean, right now there's sidewalks on the east side of South Mingo Road from 21st. You get to 81st and it drops off here, and then it picks back up again at 91st. Are you glad I knew all that, Mr. Zachary?
I am extremely impressed.
I'm always prepared.
Yes, she is.
All right, Counselor Bellis.
Okay, I was curious, this is a question for Paul, does your kind of projections for the cost of this include kind of those newer design standards I know come into play with the ordinance affecting the sidewalks, like with like pavers or like, I don't know, I'm just trying to think of the buffer
18-inch
space,
buffer.
yeah, like the 18-inch.
Yes,
Is that
ma'am.
what kind of sidewalk? it
This
is?
is gonna be, this will be fully ADA compliant, all the cross slopes. It's kinda odd how it's mismatched. We only really have one area that, whenever we put sidewalks in early on, sometimes they'll be at loss. But this one particular property is low. It's gonna have to be elevated, so it will be, I'm not gonna say a throwaway, it's gonna be functional, but that property developer will have to replace the sidewalk. There will be no additional cost to the city of Tulsa. So I think we're gonna get, as the counselor mentioned, probably a good 20 years utilization out of this sidewalk. And there's so much, I mean, this ties to our trail system that goes over to Mingo, that goes over to the expressway area, all the medical facilities, TCC, as she mentioned, and then this also ties into 91st Street that we're currently widening from Mingo over to Memorial. So the connectivity, there's a quick trip there, which is always an attraction, and a lot of young kids do that right out of these neighborhoods. So, but anyhow, this is gonna be fully ADA compliant, and if there's anything that we need to modify to get that, we'll get all the ramps and everything, so.
And we'll have the 18-inch buffer.
As a
Yeah.
quick follow-up to that, because I'm curious for what's there now, this is obviously, supportive of, and like, that's really exciting about the connectivity to education and health services. I'm just curious about like the crosswalk design, are there additional crosswalks being added in as you guys do this, or?
This has already been improved at the intersections, and that's
Okay.
why I got the design funds to widen. But until the east side actually plats out, we can't acquire the easements. Tell me if I'm saying the things that are correct. So we've done, at this table in the last 2 years, corridor zoning on 2 of these 20-acre. But the big one is Meadowbrook, right? So it's still functioning as a golf course, even though it was purchased to develop in housing. That's not moved forward. So until we get all the easements on the east side, that widening, even though it's designed, doesn't make it fiscal sense to go ahead with. So we can try to get it funded in a future package. But the residents there now and the people that use this corridor need the relief now and the connectivity. I just wanted to amplify that when it does come to widening that road, as Mr. Zachary just shared, there will be pieces of this investment that go away and have to be replaced, but it's not a large percentage of it. Most of it is being contemplated with the future widening. So I feel comfortable with that. I've also been working with Public Works to get some lighting on this corridor. It's very dark, and so that's not part of this ask, but that's another improvement that'll come. And when we had our debate a couple weeks ago about sidewalk usage, I saw some colleagues who might not be familiar with our sidewalk ordinances, but you can bike and scooter and ride on sidewalks outside of business districts. So for my community, it is much safer to be on a sidewalk in active transport than trying to weave in and out. And as Mr. Zachary said, we've made about a $16 million investment to widen East 91st Street. Those intersections are improved. There's bike lanes and sidewalks coming to that part of the city that we haven't had that. So that is, I think, at 25% completion. And so this will all dovetail nicely in that corridor. There's a lot of interest. I think there's a multifamily developer that's interested in coming in on this corridor. I've talked to Commissioner Roberts and Chief Baker. There will be a need for a firehouse somewhere in this vicinity in the future. So this just really positions this 1 mile to be ready to take on those future investments in the next 10, 20, 30 years, planning ahead.
Okay, Counselor Lakin.
Yeah, I just looked on Google Maps, and this is your district, so you know this really well, but it looks like most of the sidewalks that are here are dozens of feet away from the road.
Because the berm ditch.
Yeah, so I think that because of the berm ditch, the sidewalk is planned to go between the fence line and the berm.
Yeah.
So it'll be dozens of feet again.
Oh, yeah, I think I was more curious just about the design standard element.
Yeah.
But you don't
Yeah.
need to stamp the sidewalk
Right.
if the sidewalk's not next to the
Oh,
roadway.
I see what you're saying.
It's just a
Okay.
sidewalk, because it's still 10 or 20 feet
And those berm
away.
ditches eventually will have the proper drainage infrastructure put in and buried, and the street will widen to it, but it'll be compliant with current design standards.
So, Counselor Bellis, on
Yeah.
the time that we do those stamped things,
Right.
Sheridan, 81, and 91 to 101st, if we ever have to pull a sidewalk up close to a 2-lane facility, we'll generally curb that
Okay.
as well. We
Yeah.
will not put a sidewalk that close to a 2-lane facility that has no barrier whatsoever with that and a pedestrian. So we've been able to put all these as far back, and I think there's several I think we'll be able to salvage and will not be disturbed during construction, so.
I did want to amplify, again, for people that might not understand how our sidewalks work. Once they're installed, they become the responsibility of the properties that they're adjacent to. So that's just how sidewalks work in Tulsa. And I know that might be a surprise for some people that have never had sidewalks adjacent to their property. So it's something that we continue to educate the public on, but I think overwhelmingly, this just creates that connectivity that we've all committed to doing and improving the safety of the corridor. I wanted to thank Ms. Tankard for doing the background work on this with me, and also Public Works for being very responsive. It did take some time for them to research and see what the costing of this would be. I think after we lost the young man on this corridor, we've heard repeatedly from his family specifically in advocating for better pedestrian facilities across the city, but certainly in a place where they lost their loved one. So I feel like this is a good use of the dollars. I'm glad that Counselor Q advocated and got them set aside for us for things like this that otherwise probably would not. Investment.
Yeah. So Elliott Stiles in Public Works has done a lot of work on this.
Yeah,
He's sitting
all of
behind,
them, all
so,
of them.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's been a good effort.
So I have a question, maybe I'm not understanding. The 18-inch barrier that you're talking about, would that, once that berm is piped in, so would that still be just, would it be a curb at the sidewalk, or would it be a curb and then the 18 inches?
What we do in our standards is generally we have a 16 to 18-inch barrier.
Okay.
We're right up next to a street.
Okay,
This street has no curbs on it whatsoever.
Right.
I think they
And-
mean for future widening.
Oh, for future widening, yes, if we're up
Yeah.
next to the curb,
Yeah.
we have that stamped. And that also
Okay.
assists with those that are sight challenged, their sticks can
Right,
detect
right.
that patch.
Yeah, okay.
This one, we are gonna be over in the green area. There will be a green area before the curb when this one's ultimately improved.
We've already have the design of the widening, we just don't have the funds to widen, so this is contemplated with that design
Okay.
standard.
yeah, I like it. Counselor Lincoln?
And I would just say on the widening, again, I showed her district, so 71st to 81st on Mingo, there's usually grass, so you have the curb, then you have grass, and then you have the sidewalk. So you already have necessary
Buffering.
separation, good design standards implemented through these corridors. We've even, like, between 81st and 91st on Yale, we decided, hey, we're gonna go with narrower lanes so that we could get more grass, so we can plant trees and move the sidewalks way away from the street so that the pedestrians are not walking up against the street. So they've been really, really good at working with me whenever I get involved in the design to separate people from cars, which is ideal.
We need more of that
They're
north,
doing it, yeah. Doing a good job.
the older areas of Tulsa.
Yes, ma'am.
All righty, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 8, resolution supporting and promoting the renovations and installation of the Dinosaur Roadside Attraction at Howard Park, adding to the growing collection of roadside attractions along Route 66, and promoting the route as Tulsa prepares for the Route 66 Centennial, brought forth by Counselor Archie, and
Correct.
we have,
Teresa Fouché
yes,
and Sam Extant. Well, let's talk dinosaurs, right? Isn't that why the media is here? Sure. Absolutely. Of course, everyone, thank you so much. Everyone is aware that the Centennial Celebration is coming, and a lot of efforts to promote the assets that we have on the route, and we've come to talk about one of those particular opportunities with our Route 66 Dinosaur at Howard Park. This, what we're seeking to do is to show our support as a city council, as Teresa and David Oliver go out and try to raise the funds for this. And so I'll turn it over to Teresa and Sam to just talk about the project and the status.
Okay, great. Thank you for having us today. And you're probably thinking, why a 66-foot dinosaur? The 66-foot is probably self-explanatory, Route 66. But the dinosaur, we tossed around some ideas about a year ago with the Centennial coming up. We thought, what kind of fun, quirky roadside attraction could we add to the west side? The dinosaur really speaks to fossil fuels and the rich oil and gas history in West Tulsa. It's the site of the very first oil strike in Tulsa, the Siouxland No. 1, in 1901. Why Howard Park? It's the second oldest park in Tulsa and used to be a very vital part of West Side, but they put the highway through that decades ago, and it's definitely in needs of revitalization. Just a little update on where we are on the project status. Believe it or not, it is not easy to find someone in the country who can build a 66-foot dinosaur. So that has been a challenge, but we met with Mary Beth, and we are contracted with her artist, Mark Klein, out of Virginia. He has built Buck Adams, Stella, most recently Cowboy Bob. Everybody's probably familiar with those. So we're excited about that. And then Mark has brought on 2 other artists, one to do the infrastructure of the dinosaur, the metal workings, if you will, and then another to do the foam body that he then does the fiberglass the dinosaur itself from that. So there's a lot of plates in the air. We're under a bit of an accelerated timeline because we're wanting to get him or her installed by March and in time for the annual Main Street Convention, which is here April 13th through the 15th. And then, of course, our big car cruise, May 30th. So we're working hard on that. We've had basically 5 permit slaps, like permissions that we needed to complete the project. So far, we've received approval from the City of Tulsa Route 66 Commission, the Tulsa Arts Commission, the City Parks Board just last week, and we have 2 other permits that we've applied for. One's for the foundation of the structure, and the other's for the height variance, because there's 100-year-old pecan trees that are fabulous in the park, and we want people who are traveling the highway to be able to see the dinosaur above the trees. We're gonna have a mural where you exit there, and so we need to get the height variance on that. So that's basically where we are on the project right now. I would say we're right on track. Mark has dedicated the entire month of January in his studio in Virginia to create the dinosaur. And so we're looking at a March installation, a ribbon cutting, we're gonna name the dinosaur, all of that kind of thing. So we're very excited about it. And we've got some great renderings there. So a lot of photo ops. I really like the arch that they did in the 66. And, people to come off the highway, stretch their legs, kids can run around, do some photo ops. And also, the other part of it is that park used to be so vital for West Tulsans. And people would just gather there, and we're envisioning in the future walking trails. Of course, we'll have some lighting, maybe eventually even a sound stage to do concerts, that kind of thing, some EV charging stations. But the dinosaur is the first piece of all of that.
Alrighty, are we gonna have a gender neutral name for?
I don't know. We're gonna have a contest and see,
Yeah.
we don't even have the color yet. I mean,
Yeah.
the renderings are just kind of a neutral color. We don't know on the color.
Well, that would be cool. So, thinking of the Crybaby Hill thing, I wonder,
Well, I will
we can
highlight-
have it running from the
I'll
dinosaur.
also highlight that we've just had reaffirmed that there's not local.
Riding from the dinosaur.
Yeah, this is an important note, because the critique that came up frequently about the Crybaby Hill thing, which I would still love to never talk about again,
Yeah,
but for
I-
one
I
second I
agree.
will, is that people were like, hey, why not a local artist? But the reality is, per your point, when it comes to something of this scale,
Yes.
that's not talent we currently have locally, but if there's an artist who does stuff of that scale, please move here, and then we'll,
It was
we
difficult
could
to
afford
find.
it. Yeah,
And
it's
Mark,
really hard.
Mark has done a lot all over the country. He has his
Yeah.
own park, really, in Virginia, but he's never created anything 66 foot high. And just a side note, it will be the tallest dinosaur in the country, which I'm kind of think is cool. I did a little research. There's a 65-foot Tyrannosaurus Rex in Cabazon, California, but we're a foot taller.
Good.
And then there is an 86-foot Tyrannosaurus Rex, I don't know why, ours is a Brontosaurus, in Alberta, Canada. So we are gonna be unique in that.
Alrighty, Counselor Dr. Wright?
Thank you. I'm not familiar with this park. What are the parking facilities over there?
It's right next door, if you know where the Goodwill
Yeah.
is. It's that little park. I know you kind of take that curve there, so you go right by it.
Is there a place for people to pull off and park?
We're gonna have some additional parking
Okay.
and then actually utilize that. They don't utilize that lot a lot, Goodwill, and that's like overflow extra parking. So people will be able to park there as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if they're parked at Goodwill, are they crossing the street?
No. It
Okay,
just, it's
same
like,
side.
here's the park and Goodwill's just starts right there
Okay.
next
Okay,
door.
I'll chime in.
And
So
Yeah,
there's
and
Yeah,
then-
sure, go
parking
ahead,
up
Sam.
north.
both of the parking lots are actually owned by Parks. It's just next to Goodwill. So they have 2 lots. There's one that's large that's next to Goodwill, and then there's the tinier one that's right as you are going down Southwest Boulevard where the light is at the
Okay,
entrance.
so
to the
already
park.
existing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
already
it's just right at the light, yeah,
Okay.
right,
And the highway goes right behind it.
right behind it, yes.
Alrighty, any further comments?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out where the park is. Is it on the east side of the road or the west side of the road?
It's on the west side.
It's the west side.
Do you know what the Goodwill is?
Yeah.
Right
but
next door.
that's-
Like you're looking at Goodwill,
Just north of the
it's
Goodwill.
But is
right
it,
there.
Goodwill's on the east side of the road.
No, it's on the
No, it's on the west. You have Sinclair over on the east side.
You need to come
Oh,
over, West
yeah.
Tulsa, come over and check
It's on
it.
the east side of the interstate. That's where my problem is. Okay. I'm with you now.
It's right at the curve,
I
so it's
gotcha.
kinda easy
East
to
of the
miss, like,
interstate,
right there.
west of the southwest.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
Not too far from the neon, so people can
Alrighty.
be on the route.
Well, that's exciting. What type of lighting are we talking about?
Look at some, I talked to Mary Beth about that, some up lighting, down, it has to
Is
be
it
on a
solar?
concrete,
Fred
yeah,
Flintstone.
concrete pad and then some solar,
Sliding
kind of what
down
she
this
has done,
Those
yeah,
lunchbox.
with her giants, yeah.
So I was in Colorado Springs not that long ago, and they have a Buck Adams. Not
Oh,
a
they
Buck
do?
Adams per se, Buck Adams.
In the
but-
springs they do?
So,
Okay.
Yes, they do in the Springs, and he looks very, very similar, but he's not called Buck Adams.
Oh, I didn't know
of
that.
course, Yeah, well, I hadn't seen him before in my visits in the past, so, yeah.
These are so fun.
Yeah.
There's a whole park in, I think it's South Dakota, that is like 60 different giants. I have
Yeah.
not been up there, but once we started doing some research, so they're all
The
over.
state of
Yeah.
giants.
But ours will be the
Sure.
tallest.
Maybe we can host a
Surely
Fred
Sinclair
Flintstone
wants to sponsor
convention.
this, right?
That's what I was wondering about, actually, like, if it was the right shade of green, then
No,
it's.
no, we're not gonna copy.
We should be
we're not gonna
careful,
copy
yeah,
Dino,
or do they
yeah,
pay
with
for
their-
some of it?
Yeah.
But they're a dinosaur, they're located right there.
It's right across the street, yeah, yeah. We're hoping.
Yeah, well,
So this one can stare
Anyone
down
can
that
make
way.
the
we
ask
can
counselor, it would be you.
Sure. Well, I've
Let's
spoken
go,
with them.
I'll go ask.
They want to kind of transition away from the dinosaur image, but I'm going to try to get them to put up one of the neon signs. Though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So. should be
It
good.
is a similar type with the long
Oh, yeah.
neck, the brontosaurus.
Yeah.
Alrighty, thank you, Sam.
Corporate
Thank you,
outing.
Thank you.
Either that or
Appreciate
it's
it.
gonna go full on
Alrighty.
Flintstones.
Moving on to agenda item 9, discussion and update from the Commissioner of Public Safety representatives from Tulsa Police Department and representatives from the city on the curfew, on the downtown curfew, including but not limited to data, outcomes, and potential next steps. Brought to you by Counselor Gilbert. Yes.
Be careful with that one, I just
You might
jumped
just-
out of that one, it's gonna
And
be
we
close to
have-
the ground.
I'll catch you though. Don't worry.
We
Oh,
have-
thanks. You want to come to that?
Appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm also gonna ask if Brian Kurtz from Downtown Partners can come to the table also. If you don't mind, there's an extra chair over there, Brian.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I wanted to bring this back for discussion because we have the sunset coming up, October 22nd. And I know that there's been discussion about, do we continue, do we discontinue? So I thought it was important to bring those that are more involved in this process than, I mean, the ones that are seeing it every day to come and talk about it. So, I don't know if you want to start,
I can
Commissioner Roberts?
just start very high level. I think last time we reported out on kind of the midpoint of where we were, we had issued 8 or 9 citations, and that number is still 8 or 9. We have had no major incidents, as far as I know, downtown. Major Owensworth from Gilcrease is here, Deputy Chief Wilmer Hauser, who are running the actual operations and overseeing it on a weekly basis, can probably provide you a lot more of our actual involvement downtown. But we've seen very good success with it. Like I said, very few tickets, which I think in the very beginning during the discussions was, though seems somewhat counterproductive when talking about trying to implement something for a purpose, is a sign of success. So we've seen the start of school. I don't know what kind of changes we've seen since school started, but nothing significant's been reported up. So if either one of the Marks want to talk about the weekend updates, then I'll be happy to kick it over to them.
I'll give it to you. Okay, so, yes, that's correct, we haven't seen, like we said last time, we haven't seen the large groups of young people downtown that we had been seeing. We've had a few incidents downtown, they have not involved teenagers, and for the most part, we are seeing crowds downtown start to wane a little bit on Friday and Saturday nights. We still have our operations ongoing to ensure that nothing happens, that we still ensure the safety of all Tulsans downtown. But right now, it looks like the season is beginning to wind down.
Yeah, and I think to go back to the original discussion of implementation of this is, where should we, or not necessarily where, when should we implement this? Looking at the data and where it helps us be able to manage crowds in the bar district and the entertainment district. And I think if the request is, should we continue it? Should we modify it? Should we put it down? I think what we're seeing end over end is we're really truly talking about Friday and Saturday night. And so while it was implemented Thursday through Saturday, Thursday's just not a thing. And so Friday and Saturday night has really been where it has helped us keep events manageable. It then allows us to move crowds along that are congregating on sidewalks instead of hundreds of additional people that shouldn't be in a bar and entertainment district anyway, due to their age, so.
Brian, do you want to talk a little bit about the downtown businesses, how they feel about it? Have you gotten any input from them?
Yeah, we've, Brian Kurtz, CEO of Downtown Tulsa Partnership. Nice to see everyone today. We've done both direct outreach to businesses, business owners, and representatives within the nighttime entertainment district. We also, through the month of August, it closed the Monday or Tuesday of Labor Day. We also conducted our community-wide survey that asked very specific questions about the curfew, in addition to our general questions about safety perceptions and conditions in downtown. Business owners within the Blue Dome District area are generally, and again, we're not speaking on behalf of every person or saying that everyone agrees with this, but generally have been supportive of it, have been appreciative of the enforcement by TPD, enforcement of the curfew, encouraging that youth that are limited by the curfew move on when they are supposed to before it begins. We, in our survey, asked about awareness, and I'm just seeing some of these results for the first time over the last 24 hours. We asked about awareness of the curfew. All overall responses were anywhere between 85 and 90%, depending on if they were business owners, property owners, residents, or visitors to downtown. When we were asking about improvement of conditions with the curfew, it was a bit of a mixed bag when you look at all of the results, but when we look at the data specific to downtown business, property owners, and developers, it's certainly more than half are seeing, but roughly half are saying that things have improved, conditions have improved as a result of the curfew. However, the curfew, and even the feedback that we've received from the survey, the curfew is not the be-all, end-all solution. It's a tool that helps, but it is also, in the words of some people, it's not solving all of the problems. That continuity is important for conditions to be maintained. That the curfew is only as good as enforcement moving forward as well. I, on behalf of the Downtown Partnership, would strongly encourage that this continues, that the curfew does continue. I agree with the Deputy Chief that limiting or refining the days that this takes effect is something that should be considered. We've had some feedback from businesses about the time that it begins. Is 9 o'clock too early? Should it be 10 o'clock? My personal feeling is a bit indifferent to it. I think that there's pros and cons of both of those things that could be up for discussion among this group. But my fear is saying, hey, it's the end of October, we're going to let it stop, is we still don't have enough time to fully test and to fully see the impact that this can and should have in downtown. Again, that this is one singular tool looking at one specific, not issue, but one specific thing that has been occurring in downtown.
Yeah, and I think lastly, to Brian's point, it is just a tool. Other things we've been measuring, and when I spoke with, to Councilor Archie on this point of 400 curfew citations would be the failure of this. And so what other data sets we're kind of looking at, or not, data sets isn't the right, but just keeping a global view of the city as a whole for the safety. We're not calling all cars away from the city to try to manage out of control crowds anymore. So we're able to leave police officers in your districts during Friday and Saturday nights to make sure that everybody's safe and we're not just having to call in everybody. And so we're not seeing through review boards having to use more force because crowds have gotten out of control, crimes occurring, and now we're trying to get it back under control. So those are all things that we're also looking at. And since it was brought up, I'll mention this, 9 o'clock gives us good amount of time to continue to do educational pieces to people who are showing up. The later it gets implemented, the more we have to immediately start to enforce so that we can correct that behavior. And so I'd rather see, I don't want to enforce a lot of curfew citations on kids, so I'd rather build in that cushion at 9 so that we can still do plenty of educational pieces.
Alrighty, Counselor Bellis.
Yeah, I have a few questions and then kind of some thoughts about moving forward. So just to clarify data-wise, because when we were brought data last time, which we haven't seen in the interim, hadn't seen beforehand, which has definitely been a request, I think, for this policy to go into place, so hopefully we can get into a better cadence with that. But I heard, there were kind of mixed things we heard where it was either 5 citations or maybe 10, so it's about 8 or 9. But that's still like, I know it's still a small number in a ballpark, I'm just trying to clarify. What are the demographics for the citations as of today?
So the demographics of those 8 have not changed.
Okay.
It's still 5 black male youths and 3 black female youths. And just as I talked last time, all of those curfew citations were 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:30, 2 o'clock. One was a 13-year-old. A couple of them had prior gun arrests. And it's equally concerning to me that the social determinants of health are failing these kids. And I actually got an email today from Northern District of Oklahoma. I thought I'd put it out there because we're constantly working with our partners to prevent children from being out this late, right? And so today, got an email, Department of Justice released a lot of grants, including from the Department of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. So for anybody listening who wants to go get those and prevent kids from being out like that, so.
Yeah, because I know that was one of the concerns. I think I had just had a baby when this was getting voted on, so I missed some of the finalization. But we were working to craft the policy, which we weren't, I think, quite done yet with. However, I understand more things happen downtown, and we all felt that it necessitated more urgent public safety moves. Some of the discussion had been about that preventative youth outreach side of things, which I'm glad you all are doing, the education and asking youth to move along. But one of the things that had been in discussion and the working group on this to come alongside this was collaboration with like youth services, My Brother's Keeper, different organizations to do that kind of youth outreach. It sounds like that kind of grant would really help maybe facilitate that. Is that something that's
Numerous grants.
Yeah, is that something that's actively happening around this right now, since we had those partners at the table during some of those initial discussions? Like, we had youth services meeting with us, have they been pulled back into this at all?
You guys have been working with them, they've
Okay.
Yeah.
been meeting with them.
They've been out with us for several weekends. They pulled back because they were basically like, we don't see the kids here anymore.
Okay.
And so for a
Great.
while, they stopped going downtown. But we're in continual contact with YST, My Brother's Keeper, and everybody to ensure that we have the community support to go down and help educate.
That's great, and I do want to acknowledge that simultaneously, we know that there may not be enough safe third space youth activities for youth to go participate in, so I know we're maybe all curious, going, okay, where are those kids going now if not there? So that's always something for us to track. Out of curiosity, have there been any spikes in other types of like youth, I don't know, citations or other things outside of downtown? That's just a curiosity if we know where they're now going instead.
No, I looked, and again, we adjusted operations. Everybody's aware of the task force. While the task force is sunset, we adjusted operations based off of what was successful. And so we're still managing violent crime prevention throughout the city on Friday and Saturday nights in a different way than was done previously. And from what I'm aware of those groups of officers, only 2 juvenile citations somewhere else in town.
Okay, and I do acknowledge, of course, that a lot of what we've seen from some of the stuff that's made headlines downtown is like older adolescents, right? We're talking like 18 to 24-year-olds.
Counselor Bellis,
Yes.
you said something about legitimate safe spaces.
Yeah.
I want to clarify that this curfew doesn't prohibit juveniles
From being
from
at
being
an
in
activity.
downtown.
Right.
So if they're, coming or going from a dinner, coming or going from a safe space, from a coffee shop, whatever, they are allowed to do so. It's
Yeah.
the lingering and the loitering
Yeah.
and being, okay, so I.
Oh, yeah, yes, thank you for that clarification, yeah, Brooke.
May I
And then have
continue on
one other
that
thing.
for just
Yeah.
one moment? What I didn't articulate earlier, we asked businesses directly, are you seeing improvements as a result of this? We've also asked Blue Dome District, specific businesses, if they have seen an impact negative
Next,
in any
okay,
way.
great.
And it hasn't caused, I think to that point, it hasn't caused fewer youth to attend events, to partake in businesses or consumer types of relations.
And I
in
also want to
downtown.
acknowledge to all of us too that in some ways, right, and I know that's why I don't like disagree with, I know we have the sunset coming up, I don't disagree with continuing this, though I think we should do another sunset that I'll mention, like a time frame that I think seems feasible, but I know that we have a limited data set in some ways, right? Like right after this was implemented, then it was 4th of July or weekends where people tend to be away, maybe we didn't have as large scale of festivals as it just happened, so we haven't gotten to see what this looks like over time to a certain degree. My one other thing, I know Brian, you mentioned that we need other tools in our toolkit as well, so I still do wanna, I know one of the other issues is things like private parking lots and some of that, so I still wanna, of course, look further into regulation with those to come alongside some of this effort, cause I know otherwise that's a lingering significant challenge, so definitely continuing to pursue and look at policy and safety options there. But yeah, I would just propose maybe and I talked about this with Councilor Gilbert a bit, still like extending this, but keeping a sunset on it for a year, just so we still have another pause point to come back and look at data again and make sure that we're all back at this table being thoughtful with this and I would ask if we could figure out a way to at least get data emailed to us on a certain cadence in the interim. Cause again, I think I was hoping we would see, but I understand this has kind of been a somewhat short time frame, but hoping to see data more frequently than we have besides sitting down, but I'm wondering if maybe even we could get like quarterly data on this. Yeah, Councilor Gilbert.
No, as we spoke, I like the idea of doing the 1 year, because that does give us more time to collect that data, and having them come back on a quarterly basis, or sooner than quarterly, whatever is determined, to keep these discussions so that we can find out more information of how it's working, if it's working well, or if it's not working, and what else needs to be done, so.
So,
Can I-
go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
There's a lot of data that I can't release in regards to
Right.
the info, but I'm just wondering specifically, so I can make sure everybody's got that, what you're specifically, and we can do it
Yeah,
on
I can write
email
it down,
after the
but no,
fact.
I would say it's like the demographic data, which I understand would need to be an aggregate, cause by the time you go, it's this race, gender, zip code, age, you can oftentimes zero in on one kiddo, but yeah, I think it would be if we could get, age, race, ethnicity, gender, and then, like home zip code or something like
Okay.
that, yeah.
Would,
But it could be an aggregate, so we're just getting it's this many from each of these
okay,
categories.
since it's not a significant number, would
Yeah.
specific location help as well? So
Oh,
that it's
with
not
the
a
downtown
general,
ones?
in the
Yes.
IDL with
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
specific, okay, cool.
I think that would be helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, or also if we are able to, like, for instance, where those youth are actually coming in from, so if we do can know, hey, they're primarily from X, Y, or Z community, that might help us with upstream prevention. Like, oh, a lot of these youth are from,
Yeah.
they reside in X zip code, that's near this school, right? Then we know where we could go upstream to provide more community resources.
And a
That
lot
could be helpful.
of course, juvenile information is not purview to open records, so that's why we need to be very cautious
Yeah.
about what information we put out there.
That's why to me, if we could really get stuff in aggregate, right, like that way we're not stringing together all these small data points where you'd be able to zero in and go, oh, that's this kid in this neighborhood, but if we could just broadly be like, oh, they're coming from this area and I'll likely maybe go to like these 2 or 3 schools, then we'd be able to know where to go.
No, I love that idea about the schools, and that might be something that we can bring up with the mayor's Office of Youth, Children, Family. I can't remember what
Families.
family. So, yeah, but.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, that'd be great, yeah, I can send a little list too.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Well,
So, it sounds to me like, kids going back to school has really helped a lot, just from some of what I'm hearing. But I'm also wondering if, we can get opposing data where we have youth that have been cited, as well as the number of adults that are creating issues for police downtown as well. Public intox, fighting, public urination, DUI. I mean, I think it would be good to, if we're going to talk about youth specifically in the IDL, I think we also need to combine an aggregate as well about the entertainment district and how that affects the criminal activity downtown as well. I would like that. And I would also like for the partners, like Youth Services or My Brother's Keeper, to be at the table next time we have this conversation. I think it would be helpful to get their perspective as well on how they are being sourced out on the weekends with the curfew. Counselor Archie.
Cool. Thank you all for being here. I'm glad to see that there have not been, you say 9, about 9 citations out of.
8 is the official number
8,
here
okay.
now. I think we reported out on 9 last time. I know that there's some.
There were a couple of
I have
duplications.
the notes from last time.
8,
There was like a 5 or a 10 question.
So-
It's okay though, it was duplication questions.
but 8 citations out of
5.
how many contacts?
I don't think we kept contacts numbers or.
I don't remember.
I don't think we kept official contacts,
Yeah.
but we got regular feedback that our officers ran into juveniles and were like, hey, it's time to go, this is the new law, do you have anything more on that?
Yeah, I mean, I know that during the task force, during the summer, we ran into 4,500 people.
Right, that's the number that I heard, 4,500, so
And
not,
people,
That's,
not
that's,
just juveniles.
that's,
Right.
yeah,
Oh,
that
okay.
encompasses kids, adults, everybody.
Right.
So, yeah.
okay. And then someone had suggested that we X Thursday and just go to Friday and Saturday? Okay. Yeah, I think I had suggested Thursday just because like I think July 3rd was on a Thursday and I thought, well, a bunch of people are gonna be downtown, but it makes sense that like when it's not a holiday or a holiday weekend, not a lot of people are on downtown on Thursday. So, that makes sense to me. Yeah, those are all my questions. I just wanted to kind of see citations versus contacts and just kind of get a proportional number.
Alrighty, Counselor Dr. Wright.
Thanks. So, yeah, when this first came to us, it was for 7 days a week, and we amended it down so that we could get it across the finish line. And I think we landed on a compromise of Thursday, Friday, Saturday, based on the feedback that we got from the speakers who are running businesses. I think we made that amendment at the table on the motion. I know I made that amendment on the motion. So, and I think that's how we got a majority vote on it. So I would be open. I don't want to regulate more than we need to. So if we can just take it down to Friday and Saturday and, just because there's sunset dates doesn't mean we can't ever look at it again. That just gives us a finite, that's the day that we are going to look at it. So I would be more open to taking it down to just Friday and Saturday. Thank you for asking the question about impacts outside the IDL, 2 citations from outside of this enforcement areas, encouraging. I agree with Counselor Dutton when we're talking about downtown issues, that we need to have the full context. Because we were also talking about that 18, 19, 20, like the people that can't be in the bars, but are nearby and maybe clubs that they can, right, and that aspect of it. So if we really want to understand what other tools we need or what other situations might be causing some of this other activity, it would be helpful if we kind of zoom out off the kids. I'm glad that we didn't have like the big congregations that you guys were dealing with before. It does beg the question, like, where did these kids go? We know that there was like a warehouse party, there's been the Airbnb thing, and so I'm just asking that question, like, where are these kids? They've got to be somewhere. And just because law enforcement's not involved doesn't mean that they're involving themselves in positive activities.
100%.
Right?
Yep.
So, like, that's like very at the end of the line of, what's going on. So, I think as the Office of Family, Children, and Youth, ramps up, these third spaces are going to be more of a conversation. I'm parenting a 13 and 15-year-old, and it's very interesting to see, like, socially, like, where they feel like they can go and be safe. And it doesn't cost a lot of money, and, it's an interesting conversation just at my kitchen table right now. So if I'm having that conversation, there's thousands of kids across this community that need a space to be and socialize together. And I think from a workforce development standpoint, we talk a lot about like the socialization skills and the ability to relate. They can't learn to do those things. I mean, school will give some time for that, but school is so structured and regimented. So it's community spaces that all of us are responsible to make sure these kids are being able to relate with each other in a positive way and in a fun way, and not overly scrutinized. I know you had mentioned, like, we want kids to feel like this is their city too. So I'm just saying, for all of us as the Office of Family, Children, and Youth start focusing on those things, it's our job as well. But I would be very supportive of extending it as long as we would lower it to Friday and Saturday if that's all that's needed. And then to continue to track the data so that we're making very informed choices. I would also be open to a conversation if we see in other parts of town that need this, adding that. But it sounds like we don't need that right now. I am curious, though, to know where these kids are hanging out.
Well, they're gonna be going to the fair pretty soon.
Well, the fair, the mall, as the weather changes. or-
Friday football games.
Yeah, so,
Complexes.
yeah, so as activities shift, we just need to keep an eye on these things.
Yeah.
And we definitely are. I think that's always a concern, and I think we've probably talked to a couple of you all where we've got some concerns about open air spaces late at night. I think we possibly have spoken with you about some of that. So we are definitely tracking that and would have any recommendations to expand that somewhere.
Yeah, I agree also with the Friday, Saturday. We mentioned earlier about extending it a year. Is that a year from October?
Counselor Bellis made the recommendation.
I'm getting clarification.
Yeah,
I'm asking.
That's what I would say, as long as we genuinely, and I would wonder if we could make this into, like, the language, included getting at least quarterly reporting, like, that's.
And the
what do you-
quarterly reporting, just emails or coming to this table and getting updates during the quarter, each quarter?
I would like to have it at the table.
Okay, that's what, I just want to make sure that that's.
So a year
clear.
extension from the sunset date.
Can we
And
do
then the quarterly
Yeah.
updates. Yeah.
add quarterly updates to the ordinance? Okay.
Can you track how many
Count-
kids, the kids?
Instead of just 4,500?
Yeah, can you kind of break?
Like
well,
the
for
stop
June.
data, is that what?
I think it would be very ballpark, simply because if there are groups of kids that you're talking to and it's more of an education piece and you're not getting identification or zip codes where they live or any personal information off of them, and you're getting compliance that they're moving along, it would just be, there's roughly 6 kids
Right.
in that group or something.
I'd like to see that.
Pretty difficult to track, but
Finished.
we can.
Counselor Bago?
Thank you, Chair. Did I kind of hear like you felt like we needed to expand the age?
We can.
Can't.
I mean,
Can't.
Exactly, because
No.
I was like,
no, the area. right
yeah,
now
so
is focused on
that's where
downtown.
I'm a little challenged about forgive me. And
That's okay.
I just kind of need some clarity, just for my own frame of mind. So I get the collection of data, demographics, age, where they potentially have come from in the city. It's the adult piece that I don't quite understand. Because if the adults are allowed to be in this area, you're already gonna have that type of data, right? Understanding what types of crimes, what age demographics, and all that stuff. That's stuff that you've already been enforcing, right? This was just an additive where juveniles were potential victims of crimes that involved older adults, or younger adults even. So I want to know, I want to kind of understand the context of the comparison between adult data versus juvenile data, because quite frankly, adults are adults. They make their own decisions and they pay their own consequences. Juveniles are not in the same boat, in my opinion. So that's what I kind of want to understand what the comparative data is for.
So,
I can go back to the 18, 19-year-old 20, right?
Yeah.
So we have
Right.
our district where you
Right.
have to be of age.
Right.
And so what I heard last time is there's this kind of mix of like, when the 18 to 21-year-old, 18 to 20-year-olds have to leave
Mhm.
the establishments that they're in, whether.
Right.
Right? So they're kind of hanging around because, you know, the bars are still open. And so it was sometimes 13, 14-year-olds, which was like, please leave so that you're not in the mix.
Right.
But, you know, you have a 17, 18, 19-year-old group of friends kind of hanging out. So now the 17-year-olds are like, definitely gotta go.
Right.
But it's the 18, 19, 20 that, what I heard was also kind of disturbing the peace, hanging out, creating issues. If that's inaccurate, then
Well, that's kind of what I was alluding to.
We're still
is
seeing
Yeah,
that,
we
but
can't
probably
make
to a
them
lesser
You were
extent.
always seeing that, right?
Right,
It was
but
the
we
fact
weren't
that we had
seeing that.
juveniles that were
yeah, I
coming
think
in
for
like
us, if we can
flash mob.
see 8 under the age of 18,
Right.
4,500,
Right.
3,000 of them were 18, 19, and 20,
Right.
that's gonna give us different information than like out of the 4,500, or not just contacts, but like citations or whatever. I mean, is it 50-year-olds that are misbehaving?
Yeah,
Is
that's
it
what I was kind of
20-year-olds?
alluding to,
Well-
is when you're talking
Sometimes.
about 4,500 folks, is that a mixture,
Right.
right? Or,
So if we can get a little breakout of kind of.
because
is
my
it-
support of this is I heard hundreds
yeah,
of juveniles,
Yeah.
hundreds.
Yeah.
That was a term that was used,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Not
That's right.
Not incorrect.
Yeah, that's
So
accurate.
that was what I was specifically targeted on, was hundreds of juveniles. Now, in that 4,500, the rest of it's irrelevant to me.
It's
the
not to me
hundreds of
because we're seeing
juveniles.
social media posts of like, these kids are causing problems. Like, there was one on Greenwood with like
Right.
a video obviously from one of the offices over there. And they were saying, we have this curfew in place and these fights are still happening, to which I said, it's probably not kids under 18.
well, there was no identifying information to that whatsoever.
Right.
So, but it gave the narrative and it sent the narrative and message out that these were
Kids.
kids, when in fact, there was no information to verify.
That's where it's like, a lot of times it's
Yeah.
like young adults, even just
Right.
older adolescents,
So-
19 to 24.
And that's why I was saying the
Yeah.
data,
And
right,
it
when
was
we're
on
talking
TPU
about
Facebook.
hundreds of juveniles, right? Juveniles are defined by 17 and under, right?
Right.
So that's really what I keyed on specifically. So what I'm kind of hearing is there's some ambiguity about what the number really was.
No,
Am
the
I mistaken?
ambiguity is when you talk about everyone over the age of 18 that hangs out in downtown. And they're still, like I just heard
Right, but they're legal
Mr. Curtis.
adults.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean
But that
they're
doesn't
not doing
mean they're
illegal
not-
activity.
I'm not saying they aren't.
I was
I'm
gonna
not
say,
saying they
'cause
aren't.
that's
That's
what
what
we
I'm
were-
trying to
yeah.
understand.
We were
This
targeting.
curfew is about juveniles,
Well, it was about criminal activity related to businesses
right?
with juveniles,
Young
which if we're
people.
going to talk about criminal activity, I feel it necessary to also talk about the criminal activity that law enforcement has to respond to adults as well.
Right, but
Because
you do that
gives
all
us-
over the city already.
Well, I'm just saying, we're targeting the IDL,
IDL.
we're not talking all over Tulsa right now, so I'm just saying, if we're talking with the business community, then I wanna know what the percentage is of adults that are misbehaving downtown, that the police have to interact with, what businesses are they coming from? Is it because they're over intoxicated? You know, I mean, if we're gonna call it the entertainment district, there are still regulations even for adults. Yeah, they're adults, but there are laws on the book that you cannot serve if a person's already intoxicated. I think that's happening all the time. And I also think that when you're leaving the bar and you're intoxicated, you're getting behind the wheel of a vehicle. So I'm just saying that if we're going to talk about criminal activity, let's talk about criminal activity.
Okay, but we're talking about
Juveniles.
And safety.
pre or post curfew?
Just in the
Or two
context,
separate
in the
data?
context of creating a safer downtown for
Right.
everyone.
Okay.
It's safety, just safety is
Okay.
the umbrella.
And we could probably do that, do another agenda item about adult crime in downtown Tulsa.
Right, because to me, I see them as two separate issues.
Yeah.
You know what this yields that I feel like we should do, because this has been a sore spot for Downtown Tulsa Partnership for a while. Several years ago, when we did those tours of different council districts, each district had its moment. In District 4, I was this is pre my time, did not include downtown, which is everyone's downtown, and I'm hearing a lot of counselors really care about downtown, which while it is Vanessa, my districts, it is everyone's downtown. So I'm hearing that we should actually be doing that cohesive downtown tour together, and it sounds like honestly bar hopping is what I'm also hearing. But I'm kidding. I'm not actually saying we should do that latter part. I'm too boring and that's going out too late. But it does sound like there's more interest in downtown, both to like discuss it at this table when it comes to public safety, but also it sounds like it's just something that we should all be engaging in the future, is what I'm hearing.
So there, up there is the downtown stats that was
Right,
from.
that's what we got
from-
last time, right?
Right, in August?
Yep.
Yeah, which was about a month ago. So,
I think what I'm hearing is one tool in the toolbox now is getting the young people out safely, so,
Right.
but these other issues still exist. Whether young people are leaving at 9 o'clock, or it sounds
It's like
like
an
most of the
order in the parking
citations were after midnight, which is the citywide law, so.
Right, that's
And
what
how
I'm saying,
many,
this
and
data.
how many adults are
wouldn't
contributing to
deal
the
with those
juvenile
adults.
issue?
So I think if I can
Yeah, go
partly
ahead.
respond to that, Counselor. If you recall, when we were here was that back in June, having this initial conversation, there was a piece of this that we have actual evidence, we have on record, there's video of individuals, youth under 18 years of age, who were causing crimes, who were perpetrating acts on businesses, on storefronts and things, but there was also a significant part of the discussion that a curfew helps to keep youth safe in a controllable way by removing them from an environment that other crime-related activities can exist. If you recall the Cinco de Mayo shooting that took place at Second and Elgin involved two individuals under 18 years of age?
Just
One
one.
At least
one individual under 18 years of age, and that occurred well after the curfew would have been in place at this point in time. And other incidents as well. So it's part addressing incidents and issues that have taken place involving youth, but also attempting to remove the possibility of youth interacting with other events that may or may not be taking place or have taken place in downtown. So I think speaking to the 18 to 20 years of age, we know that this has limitations, and it's not going to solve all of the problems for a person who is between 18 and 20. However, I think speaking to Councilor Bellis's remarks earlier about parking lot issues, that we know that there are still plenty of individuals driving into downtown, drinking out of their back seats. We know, is it 150 illegal firearms have been confiscated over the course of the task force over the last couple of months.
And two were juveniles, correct?
I can't speak to that.
I think that's what was said.
Of the fire
Of
procedures?
the nine.
I don't know if we know that.
Of the 9 juveniles?
one had a background.
Previous.
Oh,
history
they
of-
had previous
Yes.
gun arrests.
They had
Okay,
and
but
we-
there were actual no confiscations of that, okay.
Yeah, no,
We took
there
yeah, we
were
confiscated.
juveniles that had guns confiscated. I'm talking about from an aspect of curfew.
Right,
Who do we run into?
okay.
This person had prior gun arrests, that
Okay.
stuff, yeah.
And I think where I'm going with that, the curfew looks at one specific segment. Parking lots, while that is a larger issue that still needs to be discussed and hopefully some level of legislation that can come back to this body. It doesn't solve all of the problems, but it may in some way help address some of the incidents that happen with 18 to 20 individuals who are 18 to 20 years of age. The thing that it doesn't do, though, is, I think, to Councilor Dr. Wright's point, create the additional third spaces, the safe spaces. Following the Juneteenth shooting I attended, I think hosted by Terrence Crutcher Foundation, the mayor's office, and others, an event at one of the churches in North Tulsa that convened community about and asking the very questions. What is needed to help curtail crime and violence? What types of safe spaces are necessary to create that? And I'm not able to answer those questions. We want to support and help as much as possible. That is certainly beyond the core functions and missions of Downtown Tulsa Partnership. But if we can, whatever we can do to keep downtown safer in as many ways as possible, be it the curfew, additional rules and regulations for what can and cannot take place in a parking lot or others, we're going to be helpful on that.
And in keeping, as I mentioned it when we were having the initial conversation, I mentioned it again today, I'm just gonna throw it back out there. In keeping downtown safe with utilizing this curfew as just a tool, we are also able to keep the rest of the city safe by not going, oh my gosh, everybody get down here. And so that's another aspect, is keeping everyone throughout the city safe by focusing and making sure that downtown's safe too, so.
Okay, well, I appreciate the words. I still would be interested, though, in comparison and what the safety umbrella looks like for downtown in general.
Yeah, I'm not saying that data's not relevant. This, to me, is about the protecting our
Yeah.
juveniles.
You
Well,
can
and
put
I
that, you
understand.
can put that on as an agenda
Right,
item too.
I probably will. Because I think the crimes and the perpetrating of crimes, I think that's not just a juvenile-based thing, but I know it's a tool, the curfew is a tool. And so I'm just trying to parse out in my mind and understand based on data where the tools being utilized would be best served.
Well, I can let you know, the majority of that is adult-related. So I will just let you know that. I don't think anybody's trying to say from the police department that the majority of that is youth.
Absolutely not.
So,
Counselor Archie?
Yes, maybe just a little bit more clarity on that 4,500 number. Obviously, these numbers don't equal 4,500 of crimes reported in downtown. So, then I also recognize part of that 4,500 is you making contacts with youth, telling them to move along. That segment of adults in that 4,500, outside of these arrests, are you all telling them to move on from something else, or what does that number represent?
So let me clarify this. This is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week statistics, not just during curfew time statistics, right? So we're talking about Wednesday afternoon at 3:45.
Perfect.
And 4,500 contacts this is reported crimes, right? These are the reports that come into the police department that say, that have a victim, either whether it be an individual or a business, that say I've been a victim of a crime. It does not include arrests, which is a separate touch point. It doesn't include a pedestrian check, a car stop, a citation. There are several levels of law enforcement activity that are added together to get to 4,500.
Okay, so it's a compilation of many, many things.
And in addition to that, there are folks that we don't get IDs off of, right? I think that was part of the conversation. We don't want to stop everybody that looks like they may be a juvenile and detain them and get an ID, right? So that's where the education piece comes in.
The 4,500 are not just downtown, or is it downtown?
can I clarify that?
You bet.
Yeah, so 4,500 is over the course of Operation Ceasefire, our officers came into contact citywide with 4,500 people.
Okay, so it's not just downtown.
And the 150 firearms and everything else, that's what that number
Perfect.
references, yeah.
Cool. Great.
All righty, do you have any more?
I just want to summarize what I'm preparing for first reading on the 8th, if I heard everything correctly. So changing the sunset clause to October 22nd, 2026. Changing the downtown curfew hours to eliminate Thursday, so it's just Friday and Saturday, 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. the following day. Requiring quarterly reports. Mayor and mayor's designee will provide quarterly reports to the city council addressing the impact and effectiveness of downtown curfew hours, including but not limited to contact citations, demographic data, and crime statistics in the central business district. And an effective date the day after you pass it. Does that sound correct?
Yeah,
Can
I have one more question, if I may. Don't we already have a juvenile ordinance
Yeah, curfew.
curfew?
Existing.
Yeah.
This is just a different.
Yeah, I know, but the existing curfew, what is that curfew time frame?
Midnight.
Midnight on Friday and Saturdays, 11 on the other days.
11 at night to, what time is it in the morning?
6
6 in the
a.m.
morning? Okay.
Jack, do we want to actually make it the 21st, so it's a Wednesday? Or do we care?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't think ultimately it doesn't really matter,
Okay.
but you can act before the expiration. I
Okay.
guess.
Can I get clarification on what you just said and from everybody? In my head, I was prepared to make quarterly reports on what Counselor Bellis was talking about. This is what we're seeing, reference curfew.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about, right?
Yes, that is what we're putting
Okay.
into the ordinance.
Okay, I just want to.
Yeah, and the curfew.
Yes, but I know what you're saying, where
Curfew
a lot of
data.
other data points came up.
Yes, if
that
there
we-
was other data things that
it
I
sounds
didn't
like we're
want to
interested
get
in
data,
visiting
that
it
now
sometime.
we're having a, okay. all right.
Yeah.
This is specific to downtown
Yeah.
curfew hours.
Okay.
But yeah, it sounds like we have a lot of downtown data interests for the future.
Yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
it's, that can be
That could-
different.
we could
I
another
would
time.
welcome the opportunity to come back anytime to talk about downtown data.
Yeah, again, this is our chance, Brian, to have everyone do the downtown specific visit.
If you can tell us how many times you open your refrigerator and close it, that'd be great during that time.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Does that keep people safer? I'm all for it.
Plus food poisoning. Hey, it's never micromanaging when it involves criminalizing children and you want to.
Did you want to add anything else?
No, that was just my question about the sunset. Did it need to be on a Wednesday? But it sounds like the answer is no, it does not need to be on a Wednesday.
Alrighty, no more questions, comments? I appreciate Brian,
Thank you, Counselor.
Roberts, Major Edisort, and Deputy Chief Wolmershauser. Thank you.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you.
Busy time. Yeah.
All right, we have one more item to discuss. Item number 10, discussion with representatives from the Public Works Department regarding safety concerns on Mohawk Boulevard, brought to you by Counselor Harper. Thank you.
Yes, so, say again?
Oh, the speed limit on the street.
35.
Oh, I see. Yep.
So yeah, as you all may recall, last week, this was a topic that was on the agenda for public comment by James Johnson, who is a resident and certainly an advocate concerning the unsafe conditions on Mohawk. This is something that we've been working on for a couple of years. I've had community meetings specifically about the issue, and so I wanted to bring some of the traffic to come in and kind of give an update, because I was getting some questions by some of the councilors after the public comments by Mr. Johnson, who's here, and who I may bring up here in a few minutes. But I know Terry has some comments that he wants to make, some of the things that we've done to try and address this by way of lighting and things like that, working with PSO and slowing down traffic to make it more safe over there. And so I'll pass it to him, and then we'll continue to discuss some of the things that we still want to see to make that area safe.
Terry Ball, Public Works. What I've got here is just so that everybody can sort of visualize what we're talking about today. Went out last Friday and just drove through the corridor and took pictures so everybody could sort of visualize what we're even talking about today. So what you see here is Mohawk Boulevard. To your right is Lewis, to your left is Peoria. And just for frame of reference, the new Mohawk Peoria Business Park is on the north side there, where you see the one large building and some other dirt work there. And then the neighborhood to the south is where we've got some comments, primarily folks. I think the point of contention is this location right here. This is the entry into the commercial development to the north. Through when the development was taking place, the neighborhood, they had a bunch of meetings to talk about what they wanted to see as far as being a good neighbor, since they were building a commercial park right across the street from a neighborhood. And one of the things, my understanding, I wasn't in those meetings at the time, but was a desire for some medians and, of course, sidewalk, and there's also a large berm with trees on the north side to try to hide some of the buildings that were built as part of that development. So, just to give you a little background, as far as what have we done, this gets back to the public meetings that the councilor referenced, but there was multiple public meetings that were related to the new business park there. So some of the things that were done there were as part of the IDP related to that, the business park. But as far as what has Public Works or City of Tulsa done, since that business park or while it was being implemented. One of the things we did is we did post signs limiting to 2 axles, so basically no heavy trucks. That heavy haul route was moved just north to 36th Street North, and it's by permit only. And that's also known as Highway 11 in that area, that 36th Street North is. That's an ODOT facility there. We lowered the speed limit in the area. We came in and trimmed all the trees, basically limbed them up so you had a good line of sight, and I'll show you some pictures to show you that in a little bit. The medians that were installed as part of the requirement, we came in and actually painted the medians with the paint. They were not painted originally, they were just the concrete color. We also, as a little, something we hadn't done on other locations before, we added reflective devices on top of the medians. We also, as Counselor alluded to, there was some safety lighting that was done years ago with the previous counselor that was scattered through a couple-mile corridor. We actually came in and had had PSO go in and do all new LED lighting throughout this mile corridor, and you'll see a picture and you're gonna see how many lights are all, we basically lit this corridor up very brightly. Since that was in there, we were asked to put some rumble strips in to try to basically notify people that there's where that area where it goes even lower speed, so we installed rumble strips. We've worked with Tulsa Police Department to do some enforcement, and they've done quite a bit through that area. One thing I'd like to really point out, and this is, I think, probably the most important part of what you'll hear today, is if you go back and look at 2017 prior to this development being there, the traffic counts on this section, of 1 mile section, was 2,762 vehicles per day on this 1 mile section. You fast forward to the vehicle counts in 2024, we're down to 692 vehicles per day. So it's a 75% reduction in traffic counts. So it has been a significant reduction in getting rid of, especially the large, heavy traffic, and just, it's just, that's sort of the numbers that it's dropped down to. And it's, that to me shows that that's a very, it's worked what we've tried to do there. And also coming, now we've actually executed a contract with Becco Contractors. They're gonna be doing a new pavement project on Mohawk Boulevard from Peoria to Lewis. It is one of the capital projects funded in IOT2, and they'll also be doing the neighborhood to the south. All that's incorporated into that, in that IOT2 project, so. I'm gonna go just show you some more pictures. There's some more medium pictures, but this is, if you're looking at, basically I started the vehicle, this is at the intersection just west of the intersection of Mohawk and Lewis. That's where it starts, no trucks over 2 axles, because right at the intersection of Lewis and Mohawk, there's actually a trucking company. So to avoid where they wouldn't be able to use their own driveway, that sign is just immediately to the west of their driveway. So they know they cannot go down that direction. So these are located both on the east and west ends of this mile section. You'll notice the speed limit is 35 through here. Now, if you look down that corridor, those are the LED lights. All those are brand new. Those were all put in as part of the work to brighten this corridor up. Prior to this, you had a few lights that were hung on those poles to the right, and they really weren't lighting up the corridor. They were the old high-pressure sodium, gave you some light, but really wasn't very good light. Unfortunately, the only way we could get good light is we had to go through and add those poles closer to the road. We worked with the counselor. Everybody was good with adding those poles. And so basically, if you look down that mile corridor, that's what it looks like all the way down there. It's one of the most lit up corridors, second to that and Admiral, from Mingo to Sheridan are probably our 2 most highly lit corridors that we have. This is some more, if you notice to the far right, you'll see all the new sidewalk that has been put in as part of the business park. So now it's a walkable area now too, and you'll notice, to Counselor Bellis's concern, the sidewalks are way away from the road. So their pedestrians are not anywhere near the road in this corridor. And this is, if you keep driving, this is as you're heading close to the drop down where it goes down to where the entrance is. You'll see the rumble strips ahead. You'll see the 35 mile an hour. You'll also see that this is a designated bike route that can be, it's a share the road system. So this is just another look at it right there.
The rumble strips were in the previous?
No, they're coming out, yeah.
Oh, okay.
You won't be able to see them on this. I I was having to try to pull over, take pictures, and not be in people's way with my flashers on my truck, so going this direction.
So
Somebody that wants
that's
to go
the
in
fence
speed
that,
limit.
that's owned by
That's his.
Mr.
That's-
And you got 30 miles per hour.
That's his,
You done
so-
dropped the,
Yeah.
you done
So
dropped the,
Yeah, the
speed
30,
limit.
but you see,
yes.
Yeah.
but you'll see our signs are
Yeah.
there, that denote 30, and it also
Goes down to 30.
notes that there's an intersection there, coming up.
It's just
Are you getting ready to turn in?
It's an advisor sign. So then there's the medians that have been, I believe, in question. And so as you go down, you just, and keep going, you can see,
Are those the rumble strips?
yeah, I'm gonna have a good picture of that in a second.
Yeah, yep.
So as we come back from west to east, you're gonna get a great picture of the rumble strip. There's two sets of rumble strips on this direction as you go from east to west, and there's two sets to notify you, double time to notify you of west to east. So this is as you're going past that. Okay, now you're up to the highway now. This is the on-off ramp there at Highway 11. So what I did then is I turned around, and so as you're looking back, now this is looking from west to east, and you'll notice how the trees used to hang down, and there was some concern that was hiding, not being able to see up ahead. Now you can see all the way up to the top of the hill with the way we removed all of the limbs up there. It also notifies you there's a rumble strips ahead, and you'll also notice that there's no trucks over 2 axle sign there.
When you say it notifies you of the rumble strips, you're not talking about signs, you're just talking about when you hit the.
The sign tells you that there's rumble strips ahead.
Okay, I didn't see that, okay.
Yep.
Terry, is that, where those trees are hanging over, is that private property or is that city property?
It's private property, but on this one, we came in and trimmed just so that there was concern of the driving public on that, and to try to get that done more quickly than trying to, getting code enforcement, try to go in there and do that. We limbed that up due to just the meetings that we had with the counselor and folks that lived over there.
Isn't all of that city property? That's private, I think, isn't it?
Some of it may be, I can't tell you which piece is which. It's the piece that has the black, yeah, where the black vinyl
Mr.
is,
Johnson, I'm sorry, but
yeah.
this isn't open for public comment.
Yeah, where you see the black chain link
sorry.
fence, that is state/city property. But I can't tell you where the trees are exactly right now, who owns that, but really sort of, where you come up, there's a set of rumble strips, so, it appears somebody decided to peel out on them just to see if they could, on that, so
They
they've.
look pretty flat.
down.
Maybe.
Yeah,
But-
they look pretty flat.
But the rumble strips are there.
Will there be new rumble strips?
Huh?
We'll have some
We'll have new rumble strips. When we redo the road, we'll be coming in and putting rumble strips in there.
Can we just make sure they're higher?
Right.
The rumble strips are not meant to be speed humps.
I know.
So the rumble
They just
strips,
surprise
the
you.
rumble
Well, I'm
strips,
just going based on what we were told originally. They said when we're gonna put, can't remember if it was you or her, but when we put them in, we're gonna put them in at a certain level. If we need to, we can kind of raise them. And we did that. And when we said, okay, I think we need to raise them, then they said, no, we're not gonna raise them.
we're to a height where there's a certain height you can go to on those. And when you drive it, and I have a video on my phone, but it was too large to download and send to this, but your steering wheel, it moves on you when you hit those rumble strips.
Yeah, good.
And that's what they're intended to do. They're not intended to make you feel like you've just hit a bump. It's just to make your wheels shake so that you know that you've, so,
But I'm just saying, that's what was
No, I-
said, and then that's not what was
I
done.
understand, Counselor. One thing that we've talked about, and this is, Counselor, I haven't had a chance to talk to you about, is with our street construction project that we have, if the desire of the neighborhood is to get rid of the medians, we can get rid of the curb median and just paint the median on and it not be a curb anymore if that's the desire. And that's one thing as we go through this. It just has to be there to allow for the turn lane, but if the desire of the counselor of the neighborhood is to not have the curved medians, we can remove that through the construction and just have a painted median. So that's one thing that is not on the, because it hasn't been done to date, but it's really our last piece of what, we've talked about of what we could do here. Because other than that, that's really I think we've done more on this 1 mile corridor than we've probably done on any other mile corridor in the city, as far as looking at options on there. I know there's been, we asked the police department to pull the accident reports through here, and there's been 29 referenced accidents, but, and there's some discussion whether or not all that's accurate, because there's some issues with the state database, but 14 of those occurred at the Peoria Mohawk intersection, 12 of them occurred at the Lewis Mohawk intersection. There's only 2 that are reported, and again, some of them may have hit a tire on a median and didn't report that.
Don't, it happens all the time.
That are
They
not
don't report it.
at one of the 2 intersections.
Right.
And I will tell you, we actually have a capital project right now that is in construction to add a signal at Peoria Mohawk. So,
Yeah.
so that has already been
Very
funded. It's
dangerous.
funded through the North Peoria funding that came through there. That funding is paying for the new signals there.
So that's like a 3-way.
It'll be a two poles, one on each side of the expressway there. There'll be one right there where that Dollar, is it Dollar General, Dollar Tree, whatever that's.
Dollar General is further
Yes,
going back over.
it's staggered it's staggered. There'll be 2 different signal poles, one right there at Mohawk, and then on the other side there, there'll be another one there. There was a base there, when that expressway was built, it was planned to have it, but those don't meet the current standards, so we're setting new bases, and there'll be 2 signal poles through there, and that's already been awarded, and the contractor's got the poles on order.
So I'll say that the biggest issue, this is for, I know you all already know, but for the council, those medians, people come down through there, especially at night, they don't see them, they hit them, they literally go airborne. Airborne. And several have landed right in front of his house, next to his fence. First to his fence, I have too, because he called me, and I get up early in the morning and go out there and see it, and you can see, you know, oil and fluids from cars
Bumper
and
debris.
partial bumpers and everything, and the cars are gone. So they call, haul them off, or there's a lot of incidents that are unreported that take place. And those medians, they hit those medians, and it's havoc over there. So, I mean, and I don't know what that answer is. You're saying there's a possibility of removing those, and so,
Yeah.
you know,
But
when you hit it, it certainly stops you, but is that going to, my concern is that going to just allow people to speed even more?
Well, the signs and everything else you do don't slow people down. I mean, unless they end up, you know, it is you can't put speed humps on this. This street does not, it's not a,
It's a boulevard,
you know, it's a, this location we don't put speed humps on our collectors and such.
How many more people have to die?
They're,
So-
they're, okay. As far as anything goes, we can remove that if the concern I've heard has been the median there, the people, even though we've lit it up and we've reflected it and everything else, we can remove the median and paint it through the capital program, and that's where, like I said, we were looking at this and didn't have a chance to get with you before this was put on as a item to talk about today, but if that's the desire, we just need to know so we can have that added to the contract that we've got, you know.
Has
get it
that
to be
been
active.
done in another area?
A lot of our multi-lanes are painted medians, they're not, if you go drive around town, there's a lot of painted turn lanes, so I mean, painted medians. I mean, you've got a bunch of them. Yeah, so I mean, yes, that's all over. It's not gonna address if you have a speed concern, anything I do won't address your speed concern. That really gets back to enforcement but I mean, I believe, and not talk for TPD, but they've come through here and there hasn't.
TPD had an accident.
But I won't speak for TBD. I'm just, but
He
we
had an
can,
accident, I mean,
but if we do, like I said, if that's the desire, I just need you notification from y'all, or from
Yeah.
you, if that's what the desire is, and the neighborhood's good with it, we can convert that from a curved median to a painted median. That'll get done with the capital construction over the next few months, and we get it going.
Yeah. I think they broke an axle in there, in that accident that they had. But if these were to be removed, could we reduce the speed limit even further in that area?
It's already 30.
That's what I'm asking.
If your concern is speeding, I can put 10 on there, then that's not gonna matter. I mean,
Okay, so
30 is really
originally,
probably as low as you wanna go there. I mean, I don't know, I mean, once you get into the neighborhoods are 25. So, I mean, I don't know what
30 to
you're gonna
25.
gain from going, anything, we can look at it, but I mean, I don't think you're gaining anything by going from 30 to 25.
And so, I wanna go back to the comment you made, so, the statistic. So you're saying that traffic has decreased 75%
Yes.
since Muncie?
Since before that. If you look at the pre-Muncie car totals, and that's 2017, I think Muncie was built in about, I think they occupied in 21 or 22,
Yeah.
22 probably. But if you look at 2017 and then what the counts were on that section there, and they were pretty, and then once you see when all this, and we, as part of Muncie, we got the two axle only, and that really shifted the commercial traffic and, you know, the larger trucks to 36th Street North. And that was one of the things the neighborhood, I believe, through their public meetings demanded that. So that's why the employee entrance is on the south side on Mohawk Boulevard, and all deliveries and anything else is on that north side on 36th Street North. And that was a requirement of when
And then
that
also, there were
was
homes
built.
over there before they bought that land and cleared it out on the.
There's still one home there.
I know.
Yeah.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Who refused to sell.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
And so, and the other request, which was denied, was a flashing, and I know you say those don't matter, they don't work.
They don't.
I know they work for me. When I'm going down Riverside and I see that flashing light, I pay attention, I look at that speed limit and I slow down if I need to. And so
Yeah, we
I mean, it
don't,
depends on the
yeah, we
person.
don't do those, we don't support them. I mean, we can only find 2 studies, and basically they're effective for about 3 weeks, and then they're not effective anymore. So that's the only thing we don't find.
Is that because it only works if there's enforcement paired with it?
You have to have enforcement there,
Okay.
and normally, like I said, they're normally used on highway, I mean, I couldn't even find one for, you know, around a speed limit sign. The only study I could find had to do with the ones that actually show you your speed, and those are primarily used on highways when you're going from a 55 to a 45, so people know to slow down. And there's been a couple studies that
But
I
even the
found.
flashing ones, they're still on Riverside now, correct?
They are now. If one day they go out, they probably won't be there. Right now, they were there, they were put in as part of the gathering place. The city, we don't go in and install those around.
So who installed those?
That was done as part of the gathering place and got turned over and accepted by the city on that, but as a practice, we
So
don't do those.
I understand, but my point is, if they can do it there, they can do it here.
It was
So
privately
That's-
funded.
And that's what I'm trying to get
But
you.
again,
They were privately funded, right?
I wasn't involved in that piece of it. I'm just saying, we don't use those as practices. There's nothing there that we can find any studies that show they do anything other than the speed limit sign, that one study that I found, and it, like I said, after 2 to 3 weeks, it goes back to being ineffective. So it's just, we have a lot of issues with some of like our solar flashers and school zones, and even our rapid flashing beacons. Those batteries are about $400 to $500 a piece that go in those, and we're having a problem with people stealing them. So I don't, unless there was a study to show that it would do something of good, we're not looking to expand anything where we're having to go out and replace, because we've had those school solar flashers cut off at the base and stolen. We've had the rapid flashing beacons cut off and stolen for the batteries. And they used to steal the batteries, and then we made locking mechanisms on the cabinets, and so now they just cut the pole and take the whole assembly. So to us, if it doesn't add any value, there's no study that shows it adds value. To us, it doesn't make any sense to go add more liabilities where we don't have enough budget already to maintain what we have, to go add stuff that doesn't add any safety value, then we're not doing it. Because it just, we don't even get enough money to do guardrail, which is pertinent to do. We don't, to add more liabilities that don't have any backup of studies or anything to show why we would do that. We haven't done that and don't plan to.
So
the community just
We-
continues.
The councilman,
have
I
a-
think, if you look at everything we've done, I think we have done so much in this 1 mile corridor.
agree.
Just to say that one flashing speed limit sign is the only thing keeping it from working,
I'm
I
not
think
saying
is
that,
not
but-
genuine. I mean, I think it's.
But the
not fair.
argument is from a community's perspective, from my constituents, is they exist in certain parts of the community and they don't in the other. And I can't give them an answer, so.
So what is the criteria on how many people need to be hurt or accidents or killed at an intersection before the city actually decides that they have to take mitigating
There-
measures?
Well, we do warrant studies for signals. This exact location doesn't have any history of issues. All the issues are at the intersections, Lewis, Peoria, it's not here where they're asking for all this improvement here. There is one thing, and there's not sure what actually happened there. There was a bicycle person that was hit, or they don't even know if he's hit. He was found there.
He was murdered.
I can't say, because I just know there was a person found there, his bicycle was on the ground, and he passed away. There's no, I don't know.
So-
This is right there.
Yes.
Yes, that's where that crosses at.
Do we have, okay, the data then, go ahead.
No, I mean, to say that, I'm gonna have to push back on, if you're saying that the accidents only are happening at the intersections at Peoria and Lewis, absolutely not. You can see skid marks right there. So, and the incidents that I've gone out and witnessed myself, they had hit that median, went airborne, and went over, and I've seen, it was at least 2, if not 3 incidents, separate incidents like that. And when people, they call a friend, or they get a tow truck and they move on, I don't want it to be left on the table that, oh, there's no incidents between that long corridor between Lewis and Peoria. That's simply not accurate.
There's no recordable ones.
I don't care about
But-
it
but-
recordable. I've seen it with my
but,
own eyes.
I understand, Counselor, but that's what I'm
Okay.
saying. We can get rid of those, we can get rid of the median curbs, and that addresses, if you're worried about.
And there's
people
been
hitting the curb.
situations even further down beyond the medians, going closer to Lewis.
Right.
There's been accidents.
And I have video.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, are you?
Yeah.
Okay, I have Counselor Lakin.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask about the medians, and Counselor Hall Harbor, I'm sure you've seen places like this, so this is really close
Well,
to my
there's
house.
no medians, you mean?
Yeah,
They're
no
painted
medians, just
medians.
The painted medians, I mean.
And we expanded the road here, but we went from dozens of accidents to virtually none, because we
Just by
expanded.
removing them.
Well, yeah, we didn't, it was just 2 lanes.
Oh, you didn't have it.
So, right, but we made it to where we had that turning lane, and now we've had virtually 0 accidents. So I could see how that would be a huge problem. This is not my district, you get to decide kind of the
Well, that was
orientation
proposed
of.
some time ago, to remove the
Yeah.
medians, and the answer was no.
It sure seems like a smart thing to do, especially given how far to the south you have to move if you're going
Yeah.
to the east.
Weren't they initially
doesn't-
installed?
That,
To
all of this was done because of the
prevent-
development of Muncie.
Oh, and I thought it was also done to prevent
I think it,
collisions.
well, I think it was done to calm the speeds though,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, and what it may be calming the speeds, but it's also maybe creating some accidents.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like if you're going from west to east, you don't have, from east to west, you don't have very much of an issue because it's a straight line, but, you're really having to move around that.
The cop a
And it's-
month or so ago was going.
Is that part of
Oh,
the
yeah,
That's when he
oh.
had his accident, and broke an
Never
axle.
mind.
I have the picture
So,
of that.
Counselor Archie.
Can I keep going?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I thought you were
Yeah,
finished.
the only other thing is the reduction in daily traffic counts related to the number of trucks that are going
A
up and
large
down?
percentage, I think, is related to that.
Yeah,
'Cause
you
you got the
guys-
trucking company on and then you also had city vehicles, because there's, the Mohawk Water Treatment Plant is in close proximity. There is a fueling station for city vehicles at the.
And they're all doing
Division
36th
North.
Street North now, since ODOT built out that bigger
Well, yes,
infrastructure.
well, we directed all our employees, well, the signage is already there, but then we then had meetings, both myself, with our public works drivers, and Eric Lee with the water sewer, and educated our drivers too, that that is a no-go zone for our
Yeah,
larger trucks.
that's great.
So,
And
I would,
And
it makes
also-
sense to take those medians out.
Several years ago, I think we really honed in on sending letters to those companies that are around there saying, hey,
Yeah, we did that too.
we're gonna be writing some
We
big
sent
tickets.
letters to notify
And I
them
think
of that
that
too.
slowed a
Okay.
lot of traffic, because we actually had a resident over there who videoed
Mm-hmm.
the number of big trucks driving down there that shouldn't.
Yeah,
And
the
so
two
because of
axles,
that, I think
yeah.
that had an impact.
Yeah.
And that was several years ago.
All righty, are you finished
Yeah,
with your line
uh-huh.
of questioning? All righty, Counselor Archie.
Yes, I would agree, removing the median would be helpful. You talked about the rumble strips. Sometimes I'm driving and it's not rumble strips, but it's like the ground has been actually like indented to where.
ODOT does that on highways. That way,
Okay.
if you're, wakes people up before they leave the highway.
Right.
So they do that on the edge of that.
Do you think that could be an option, or what, do you think that could be an option?
That, we don't grind the edge, and really, I don't think the edge is the concern, and we.
Well, not the edge of the road, but like in the middle, like as they're driving
No.
down.
Never seen that.
Okay, that's
That
it.
would create road damage, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
Well, then once you do it,
Yeah.
you can't take it back.
Okay,
Alright.
so,
And then, I know we're over time. Can you go back to the slide that has the white truck right here? Thank you. And maybe we already saw it.
The rumble strips are right in front of that.
Right. Well, I have a question about the trees. I know you've done some work on the trees. Is there, perhaps you can go in and take
Well,
even more with the light?
It's the same. Once you get to
That's
where
the
that
view.
truck is, it drops significantly, so you can see what's up ahead.
Oh, you
That,
think
that
that's the
tree,
view,
yeah.
Okay.
So
That's
that,
not
it doesn't
affected.
affect that there.
All right. So there's no, you don't really see an issue with the lighting, with the trees blocking the lighting as you're going down that road?
No, they pulled back and most of the lighting is over there.
Right.
Yeah, so it throws the light across the road, and we,
Okay.
and we've actually, if you go down to, actually where his house is, there's a street there, and we actually have a light on the corner intersection there on the south side of the road there too. So I mean, it's a very well lit corridor.
It helps with the turn.
It took, yes, a while to get it done, but they did it.
Okay. That's all for me.
Counselor Dr. Wright, do you want to?
Okay.
Okay, Counselor Bingle?
Yeah, mine are very simple. So go back to the medians, if you would, please. So obviously, it's weird, right, looking at the medians on one side versus the other. So that would, if you have unfamiliarity with that area, yeah, I can understand
You're gonna hit it.
why you might have those issues. But the skid marks, right? I've had you guys out there looking at 11th Street many times over around 11th, you know, about people speeding and stuff like that. And so.
No, not on 11th Street.
No, of course not. But anyway, is this potentially a path that a lot of folks are using, that don't necessarily live in the area, but are using as a pass-through and to get from one place to another to avoid traffic control?
I think so, 'cause there's not a lot of, there's not construction going on there really, so I mean, you're not like you're not.
Because
trying
I'm
to
always
bypass anything there.
confused about why people are aggressively speeding down certain roads, right? Especially this one, right? If the speed limit's only 35 miles an hour, right? I mean, you have to be going damn fast to be going airborne.
You are. They are.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the whole point. I think the
So-
streets are kind of wide. Historically, they've been wide. The homes sit way off from the street, and so people treat it like a highway.
That's my issue.
If the homes were closer, you know, everything, just like traffic calming and anything. But yeah, the homes sit back quite a bit from the road.
You
And
need
certainly
to move
Muncie
your
sits
house
back
closer to
quite
the
a bit
road.
from
My
the road.
house is.
You
That's
know,
why I get it
closer.
all.
Yeah, and
I'm
you-
right
and-
at the road.
And it
Sounds
sits,
like-
and the corner too, the turn
Sounds like
in
the
there.
medians just have to be removed.
So,
Like I said, from what I've heard today, we're gonna plan on just, we will notify the contractor what we're gonna do on that, on those two medians, so.
how long do you think that'll be? Because I know you said there's street work that's.
I don't
We're
know
not
if
gonna
that's
wait
a
for that.
9-month or 12-month project, I don't remember, I'd have to find out what, we haven't got the schedule yet. See what they're doing.
So it would go,
No, we
some of
can't.
and so that's my question. So the removal of the medians would take place when the road repair
Yes,
work is
when
done?
when
not
they come
before?
to rehab Mohawk Boulevard, they'll do the medians as part of that.
They can't go in there with some sledgehammers and just pop them off.
And it's just that one median.
I'm just asking.
The other median is
Well, they can
fine.
keep hitting them and they'll
It's
pop
just
off.
that one.
It's just the one that juts
we
That
out.
can-
one median.
That juts out.
That's what's causing the
And
accident.
that's what they hit. If you would get a picture on the other side of that median, it's tore up.
We can work with them to try to make that one of the first things they do. Until we even have a schedule and we actually get them out in the field, they're not ready to start construction quite yet, but
Okay.
we can make that a priority.
So still, it's going to be when that road work
Yes.
starts, not any time before then.
Slow down.
It'll be part of that capital program, but we will try to make that one of the earlier than later things for them to do.
Well, it sure would be helpful to have 25-mile-per-hour zones throughout the city. All righty. Anything else Anybody open for any further discussions?
I need to sign this.
Okay, item number 11, we are adjourned, 5.